Look at us in our fancy lighting.
Yeah, we're getting pro.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, it's so stupid, but it works. It helps.
It does.
Yeah.
It looks better. I look lighter.
Yeah, it looks like you
look
actually...
at the bags. Look at me.
I know.
Oh my god.
I know, same with me, though. Like,
wow.
Take off the glasses.
My overnights are fucking killing me.
Well, let's start the show. So...
Yeah, sure. That's a good intro.
That's
right
a great intro. Yeah,
that's an amazing intro
to episode 4 of FFBE Talk. So,
yeah, we're in a new place.
Yeah,
again.
This is the mobile FFBE Talk show.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's the subtitle.
Yeah,
FFBE Talk, the mobile.
FFBE Talk, the mobile show.
We can't get guests to come to us, so we go to the guests.
Who's the guest this week?
Nobody, because they run away.
Yeah, they actively avoid.
But yeah, I mean, man, you know what I did to myself yesterday?
No.
I stayed up way too late. I've been watching this show called The Expanse.
Yeah, you told me about it.
And for some stupid reason, I decided I was just going to binge it last night.
That's so bad.
I just didn't go to bed on time.
What time did you go to bed?
Like 2 a.m.
I went to bed at 5 a.m.
Yeah, but you work overnight. So
I wasn't working.
Oh.
I just have to keep the same sleep schedule so I don't get wrecked.
Yeah. Oh, so you should be like, this is your prime.
I'm wide awake.
Yeah, I'm shutting down. You're waking up.
Yeah, pretty much.
We got a nice episode lined up for you today. We're going to talk about the second half of the player's voice campaign.
Yeah.
We got actually the brand new global exclusive Nemesis battle system.
I'm really excited about that, actually. Yeah.
And then we got a couple more events, why don't you?
Those the story ability enhancement things that they're doing, the unit episodes they're called, for Aileen, Roy, and Silvia are coming. Yeah. And then we also have your Final Fantasy VII event. We mentioned that this was coming a couple weeks ago, so hopefully you guys kept your Barretts. And
that's right. I told you guys in an episode, it might have been still on the podcast.
I think it was still in the podcast, yeah.
So I told you guys, keep your Barretts, keep your Kate Siths, because there is a raid coming.
It's coming.
And it's here.
It is.
And then it's also come with a couple of new units, which we'll talk about as well. So let's get into the show. All right. So, like you mentioned earlier, there's the episode system that's coming in. So you're actually around the world. There's going to be NPCs that you might run into during the story, and you can go and talk to them, start a quest, which will take you through a nice little story about them, and eventually unlock an ability for them.
Exactly.
So the three that are kind of implementing this are Aileen, Roy, and Silvia.
I think it's Silvia. It's Silvia.
Silvia, yeah. I'm just dumb and can't write.
It is what it is.
So did you have a chance to actually look at the
abilities? Yes, I did. I looked at the abilities. I haven't had a chance to actually go through the units themselves, mainly because there's just so much going on recently in FFB, so many different things to keep up with. But
to be honest, it's not substantial the way I was looking. So Aileen gets Screwdriver, right?
Yes, and I love that she gets it. She finally has a move that does something half decent. Chains nicely, caps itself, debuffs 80% Earth Resist. I think it makes her not a viable unit, but if you are using Aileen whatsoever, she has an ability that can do something.
I'm going to be less politically correct and just say it doesn't help her at all. The modifiers are trash, and it puts her nowhere near any of the chainers that currently are at least remotely useful, right? Aileen as a 7-star unit, she's still unfortunately
trash,
quite bad.
Yeah.
What you got? What? Is that a screwdriver?
And
I agree.
For example,
she's too early.
When you look at Roy, he got actually a pretty nice buff for 5 turns, right?
Yeah.
He gets a really nice attack, mag, defense, spirit buff, and
HP, regen, MP,
a 70% full break for 5 turns.
Oh, yeah, the full break, yeah.
All in one ability. I think that's a really nice buff, which kind of puts Roy into a really nice niche where you can compress 2 rolls for shorter fights. So if you know the fight is not going to take you a long time, you can easily, because the move has a long cooldown, so obviously you can't he can't function as your primary breaker for long fights, but if the fight's not going to last more than 5 turns, this actually gives him a nice role where you have a buffer and a debuffer in one little slot, which opens up some other slots for you, which I love.
100%. I agree.
And when you compare that to what Aileen got, I just feel like she got shafted again.
Well, she did, but like the thing with Aileen is that ability is in line with where she is as a like she came out as a 7-star so long ago.
Yeah.
That literally anything you give her that's not in line with the current chainers makes her not usable.
I guess
right?
a part of me would have liked to see her at least get one ability that would make her somewhat usable.
Even in niche situations. So it's an 80% earth break.
Yeah.
I wish that they just made it exorbitant. Just make it like 150. You're never going to use her, but if you do, at least make it worthwhile.
I feel like one or the other would have been good. Either give her higher modifiers or give her, like you said, an exorbitant imperil where you'll have some reason at least to put her in your team.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all.
Yep, I agree with that.
That's
Silvia didn't get anything.
She's a 4-star base unit. She got a nice passive. She's a hybrid unit.
Yeah.
30% attack, 30% mag, 60% total useful stats.
If you have no other hybrids.
Right. She wasn't it's a 4-star base unit. You're doing it because you get to see a nice little side story about her.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, doing it for the lore. That sweet, hot lore.
Yeah.
But that's it for the new unit episodes that are coming out. Hopefully in the future, there are so many NPC units, including some of the prominent 7-stars. If they get similar treatment going forward, it's going to be really nice.
Yeah,
Plus,
I agree. It'll be nice to see what the future has in store.
I love world building in general, so it's really nice to see these units getting more story about them flushed out. Speaking of story, I did want to mention, I told you I'd let you know what I thought of the Charlotte story.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was cheesy. I wish it was more about Charlotte.
Yeah. It
was good to see what happened with everyone after Rain and Laswell left. It was kind of nice seeing that their effect on Lapis was really wholesome and friendly and great, and everyone is in love with each other now. But it wasn't about Charlotte at all. Like, Charlotte existed.
But for example, even the Axstar story wasn't really about Axstar.
Yeah.
It was about Tomoe. But it still had the elements of an interesting story where you kind of wanted to find out how it would all unfold.
Mm-hmm.
With Charlotte's story, I felt like it was too predictable.
I disagree a little bit. So Axstar's story wasn't about Axstar, but you learned about Axstar. You saw that he's hard on the outside. He has that firm exterior. But he's really, really soft-hearted and really wants to help and wants good people to have good things happen to them or to save them from bad situations. Charlotte did nothing. She walked around, fought some monsters, and went home. Like, there was no character development for her at all, I felt like. And it was her story. At least in Axstar's story, he got some character development.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Axstar's story was better.
Yeah.
I still wouldn't say it was about him, even though we learned about him, right? But Charlotte's story didn't even go that far. I don't know anything new about Charlotte other than she has a couple subordinates and she got a new costume.
Yeah, it's great. She's an amazing unit, though.
She's amazing. It's just the story was garbage.
It really was.
Just straight up garbage.
It was so bad. But enough about that. I just wanted to touch on that because I mentioned it last week. Finished the story earlier this week and figured we'd mention some quick thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Moving forward, the new Player's Voice campaign, Part 2. We got a bunch of new tickets. I think we get some more tickets going forward you can use to select what you want to vote for.
This time, I feel like the choice isn't as cut and dry as Part 1.
That's fair.
Me personally, I'm leaning towards... I can't decide, actually, between the Lapis polls or the 7% 10 plus ones.
Mm-hmm.
So the other two, I'm not so hot on. I know I've seen people get really excited about potentially turning an NPC into a playable character.
That would be cool.
The problem with that for
me don't know
is
who.
I just don't know who.
Yeah.
And if it's
someone I don't care about,
why? So that one has really high payoffs because I think it'd be awesome to see some of the
it'd be huge.
Characters as units. But
this is where I wish they would list off You don't even have to tell me exactly which unit. Be like,
Give
it's
me a
going to be
range.
one of these 5.
Well, here's the thing. They say there's going to be a poll afterwards if this one wins.
Yeah.
To select the unit.
That's
Just
what I'm
give me
saying.
the
So
range.
give me the poll.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what, like, give me what it could be.
Yeah.
And then I can decide if any of those are worthwhile. Because I think I was talking to someone on Twitter, Seth, he was mentioning the Veritas. I would love to see Bolt Veritas, which we missed out on with Sakura, as well as the Frost Veritas. Like, it'd be great to have these people come into the game.
For sure.
Close out that little ring of units.
But that's why I'm not going to vote for it, because I just don't know which units they're going to be.
Yeah.
The other one, you have a chance, I guess. The way I understood it is you get to pull one weapon TMR that could be any one of the 16 weapon types.
Yeah.
Which to me is like, what if you get a weapon type you don't care
There's
about?
so many bad TMR weapons.
What if you get Druid de Blah?
Yeah. No, that's exactly. There's so many bad weapon
Just
TMRs
why,
that it's extremely risky. It's not worth it.
And the payoff, I feel like, isn't worth it either, because one good weapon TMR isn't going to make or break.
If it was an S TMR,
that would be a different story. Yeah,
I'd vote for that instantly.
So that's why I'm kind of stuck between minimum 200 lapis per day for 20 days.
Mm-hmm.
That's a minimum of 4K.
Yeah.
Or 4 10+1s with a 7% rainbow rate.
Average three rainbows.
Right. So to me, that's tough.
On
the one hand, lapis you can use whenever you want.
Yep.
And arguably you can target it better because you can do it on a banner with a unit that you want.
Yeah.
The other one you can't really choose, but you're going to get more rainbows and more units over, and it's just more value, I guess, overall.
So I agree it's technically more value. I like the Lapis summon for 2 reasons. One, it's a minimum of 4K. Chances are over the course of 20 summons, you're going to get more than that, realistically.
Yeah, but we don't know how much more, so it's hard to...
Fair. But either way, even if I get 5K Lapis, that's one a little bit closer to potentially a full round of a step up, which can guarantee me a unit that I want. Whereas the 10+1 7% rainbow, that's fantastic, but we have like 150 rainbows. There's such a high chance you're going to get nothing that you want, right?
It's tough. It really is.
And it's a three rainbow average. I've done 4 10+1s and not gotten a single rainbow.
Yeah, but it's 7%.
I've done 10 10+1s. I got 0. You know what I mean? Like, it's just...
It's fine. I mean, that's what makes it a hard choice, because this one isn't as cut and dry. Because 5K is one step, let's say, of a 25K step up, right?
Yep.
It's 20% of it. And... on the other hand, you could potentially get yourself 44 units, and some of them might be rainbows, some of them might be nice TMR containers. I personally haven't decided yet. I just know I won't be voting for the NPC or the weapons.
Yeah, those two are too unpredictable.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, it'll come down to, for me, how my lapis is, I think. If I'm close to 25K lapis, I might just go for the... lapis, that way whenever the next sort of exciting
don't you have to choose in this week?
Yeah, you got to choose this week. So once I clear some of the new events, pick up all the lapis,
see where
finish
you're
the
sitting.
story, see where I'm sitting.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go for the lapis, and only because it's guaranteed that I'm getting a certain amount of lapis. I can target it over time. I'll get to that 25K that much faster.
Yeah.
I just think it's overall a better free-to-play option.
It's fair. All right, so jumping into events.
We got the Christ farming bonus stages from CG Charlotte's story event coming at you.
Yeah, I just want to mention, just to don't forget about them, because this is a great week because we don't have any King Mogs.
Yep.
We don't have really anywhere that we have to spend our energy.
Yeah.
So, Chris, make sure to clear Chris farming missions and get your magical Sailor Knight Grand Shell her gauntlet.
Yep.
I think if you do all of them, at least I cleared all of them once, I had enough to build the gauntlet. So if that's all you want to do, that's fine. If you have any units that you really want to awaken, this is a great opportunity to do it, because those
Squall.
Yeah, don't get me started on Squall. I'm pissed about Squall.
Yeah, okay. Sure. You should put the crying baby over you as you rant about Squall. I'm just kidding.
Dude, people not complain, but they're like, oh, he can't cap his own chains anymore. So what did Gloomy do? They fixed him. So they slowed down his keen edge. So now he can't fit 2.
Yeah, it's definitely a crying baby moment.
You literally ruined a good uniform for me.
I don't know why people cared about that. Like when
I'm not even awakening him anymore.
Dude, when they were like, "Oh, he can't cap his own chains anymore," I'm like, "Who cares? He's not a chainer."
What I want them to do
something he wants to do.
I literally want them to take
it back.
Yeah,
just change
it back, please. Like, these people are idiots. Don't listen to them. Anyway.
Send us your hate mail at ffbepodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. So, that being said, the other place you could actually spend your lapis this week is the story.
You mean your energy?
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
Don't waste lapis on story.
Don't do it. Yeah, I was still thinking about Squall.
Yeah.
But yeah, your energy. There's a half energy campaign going on.
Yep.
So jump in there, finish the story. If you finish it before a certain date, you get a free 50% trust Moogle at the end of it, which is awesome. Yeah. And you have to find out how the story unfolds.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
We've all been waiting for that.
Exactly. Hopefully it comes to an end here, right? We'll see. I haven't finished it yet. We'll see soon.
Yeah, I'm getting close, though. I'm very close.
Both of us are very close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll save it. We'll talk about it maybe next week. I think this
I'll
week
finish it. I'm finishing it.
So,
I always take advantage of the half price campaigns because it's just the easiest time to get it done.
There's nowhere else for your energy to go, right? Yeah. Except if you haven't done the new global trial system, right?
Yes.
We're getting the Chamber of the Vengeful. I hate that it's the egg puns still, because like Easter's over. I'm kind of over the egg thing.
Yeah.
But, Armageddon, it's here.
Yeah. You know what, though? I don't mind it because it's a great way for them to take something that was a global exclusive thing and now turn it into a global exclusive trial, kind of
especially
tying it all together.
Supposedly we're getting one a month moving forward. So this is really
going to be super
nice.
Fun.
And the way this works is there's 6 units. You can check them out in the news post. 6 units. I think Esther, Sylvie, like Aiden.
The Fravias.
Yeah, the Fravias. Yeah. A lot of the global exclusives get a 30%, I want to say, parameter boost.
Yeah, exactly.
Just for being in the battle. So if you clear it, you get some nice rewards like a normal raid. But every stage, so beginner, I want to say elite or intermediate. I don't know what the stages are, but there's 3 stages.
Yes, beginner, elite, and legendary, or something like that.
Every time you clear it with a different unit, you sort of gain points, I guess. And every time you do that, you get more items. There's a really cool set in there called the Tectonic set, I think.
So the way the
points... the Catastrophic set?
Catastrophic set.
Yeah.
The way the points work is you have to clear it with unique units. So if I'm, for example, clearing it with my single Esther, I can't use that same Esther to clear it again. I have to use a different Esther or a different unit entirely.
So if you're stacked on units, you could just swap out one team, put in a different team.
Yep.
If you're not stacked on units, you could keep a core team around and just swap one unit over and over.
So for the first 2 sets, I was able to swap out 3 or 4 units in total. I just needed to keep chaining 2 chainers. For the final one, I'm finding that it might take a bit longer, so I may have a bigger core, but definitely changing out 1 unit at a time. Now, I noticed something while doing this event is you can select your own unit as a friend unit.
Pretty nice, yeah. Opens up a lot of nice, I guess, synergies if you have the units in your team, right?
Exactly.
Because you can always find the right chaining partner available now. Yeah. Whereas one thing, I love the expanded friends list, but one thing I'm finding is that it's still littered mostly with like Esthers and Xenos, which is awesome because I have an Esther.
Yeah.
But if I want to use a different type of DPS or I want a different composition, it can be very tough to find that specific unit.
Yeah, 100%. I wish that more people would have a wide variety of types of units they're putting out, but
I mean,
Esther and Xeno's great. I can't complain.
Most people put up their best unit, and most of us, we don't have enough good gear to deck out 2 DPS units, for example, right? Like, I can deck out 1 magic user and 1 physical, but I can't do, like, 2 physicals armed to the teeth.
Yeah, definitely.
So, if Esther is your best unit and that's what you have, most people, like, that's why I share.
I'm
part of the problem, because I share
you
Esther.
are the problem. Yeah.
I share my Esther.
I share 1 Esther, but on all of the other tabs, I share something different.
Well, yeah. I have, like, a tank, a healer, all that stuff, but...
that's what people need to do.
Yeah.
So, going forward, talking about the catastrophic set. They are pretty nice in general if you equip them together. I think you total out at an extra like 80% attack and spirit,
it's actually
which is pretty good for a set. And
Yeah.
then on top of that, you get an extra set of earth resistance as well.
Yeah.
So great for this current
and each
fight.
piece individually is not too bad. I know the chest piece, I think it's heavy armor.
Yeah.
Or is it light armor?
I think
it's some
it's-
kind of armor at least.
Yeah, it's armor for sure.
It gives you a flat 30 attack as well, which is actually very, very nice. And when you combine
Surprisingly.
that with the passive, I think it's fantastic. I could definitely see myself using it on some of my units. Right?
Yeah,
So I think
they're
rewards
good.
are worth getting. And the other thing I saw, you can get those Trust Mogul tickets now,
Yes, you can on the final tier of it.
which is fantastic because finally it makes Super Trust Masters
Accessible.
slightly more accessible to normal people who don't, get super lucky and roll 4 Charlottes all at once.
I've been playing for 3 years, and I swear I only have after this big set of 5-star guarantees that we got from the 3rd anniversary, I finished off a bunch of STMRs, like 4 of them.
Yeah.
Which is a lot for me. Like having four STMRs after 3 years, I mean, that says a lot, right? How difficult it is to actually accumulate 4
Just
of the same
because we
unit.
get new 5 stars every week, right? So it's tough.
No,
It's
of course. So this is going to be a fantastic way for people like us, free-to-play users, to get those STMRs that you're really, really aching for.
Exactly. And it gives you a bit of choice, too, over which ones you want. You're no longer limited to, I rolled 3 copies or 4 copies of this unit, but it's like 4 Echoes, and you get extra Evo Mag. Which, if you're not running in a summoner, you don't care about Evo Mag. So it's like, this is not useful at all.
Exactly. Yeah. But moving forward, we also have another big event happening this week, and I feel like they just love, people love this Final Fantasy in general. They just love Final Fantasy VII. We've had 6 Final Fantasy VII events.
I know.
It's crazy.
So many Final Fantasy VII
It's like,
units.
Guys, there's 14 other Final Fantasies and
15,
offshoots.
technically.
Well, 14 and the 15th one is Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
I got you.
Yeah,
and their offshoots and some of their sequels.
There's
so much going on.
You're in your peak. This is when you're most
Yeah,
awake.
I know. I'm alert.
I'm falling asleep.
This is when I have to be giving my narcotics. So I'm like, I got to be alert.
Oh, that's it.
People need their drugs.
I give my narcotics first thing in the morning. Usually, I get into work. There's already a phone call waiting for me.
Okay, I need the narcotics.
Yeah, it's really urgent. It's like, why did you wait till you were out to try to get more? How is this? How is this?
Yeah, we've been out for 2 months. So can you get it to us immediately?
How are you running a clinic?
Amazing.
Anyway,
moving on.
Yeah, so
Final Fantasy VII, they love it. The people love it. I enjoy it a lot. Not my favorite, but I do enjoy it a lot. We're getting 2 new units along with this raid event, the De-chao statue.
So let's talk a little bit about the raid. It's just a standard raid, right?
Yeah.
The nice thing is the last raid, it was like a dragon fairy beast, so it's very hard to stack killers. In this case, it's just a dragon, so it's a lot easier to hit that damage cap and get all of those extra summon tokens or whatever they're called. The other thing I want to talk about is there's a few items that you can craft, right?
Yeah.
Like with every raid. So I want to talk about 3 of them, and starting with the curse ring.
I think this is pretty interesting.
I think it's a trap. And that's the only reason I want to talk about it, because it gives 20 flat attack, which is nothing special. It gives 20% HP, which is pretty good, but you have things like Arsha's Talisman or even Gembu Ring that most people can just craft, which will give you 20%. The reason I don't like it is the steep penalty of 2,000 HP per turn. And to put that into perspective, there is a 5-star unit whose STMR is 80% attack with a penalty of 2,000 HP per turn, and people get mad at you if you share that as your friend. If you equip that,
they do. I remember it was Olive, right?
People get pissed because that 2,000 HP per turn is a lot. Especially
because most battles, you're going 5 rounds, right?
Exactly.
Or potentially, if it's a long, drawn-out fight, it's like, wait, my unit's dying and they're not even getting hit. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. So
I agree with you.
And so when you take an STMR that gives you 80% attack, which is a lot for one materia slot, comparing it to something that gives you 20 flat attack and 20% HP, it's
a no-brainer. Why would you equip it? That's why I said it was interesting. It's like you're making something that looks half decent,
But
and then giving it a crazy penalty. Like even my Charlotte right now, who has 18,000 HP, I mean, in 10 turns, she's dead. Theoretically, right? Like,
and
it doesn't make any sense.
It's even worse because if you have somebody with a guts passive and they barely hang on, and then this stupid thing kicks in, you're like,
God.
oh, thanks.
Oh my God.
That's the only reason
Good luck.
I wanted to bring it up, just because it is a trap.
Yeah.
It looks good, it looks enticing, but it's not worth it.
You know what I love about the next weapon, the standard issue sword? It's literally that. When you think of like your everyday average sword, it has those stats. It's like your standard issue sword.
It's got that man-eater, like the man-eater equipped like passive. But just like last week when we talked about that dagger, the attack is so low that you can't really even make use of it.
You get so much more for equipping any. Like most TMRs have 120 or more.
Yeah, and in this case, it's even worse because we also have other better swords with man-eater, like Deathbringer.
There was that one that you get for clearing a trial, no?
Yeah,
that's Man-Eater Plus or something.
Yeah, I think if you beat Gilgamesh, Scorn of Gilgamesh, it's like I can't remember the name now. It's a really good katana.
I have no idea, but it's in there.
There's this sword. I think
it's so funny.
The newest of the newbies would like this,
of course,
but. It's just...
We talk like this. Yeah. I remember a long time ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I started a JP account.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm going to try, see how this goes, maybe keep up with it. It's so hard to read Japanese and figure out what's going on, especially when you don't... Anyways, totally different story. I was hurting for good equipment.
Yeah.
Like, you don't remember, like, after 3 years, having all the, like, access to, like, 300 different pieces of good equipment. You're sitting there and thinking like, oh, this is useless. But for people who have just started playing, even within like the first couple months, this is a really good sword. This is huge. This is massive.
I remember when we first started playing, they had this event where you had to like run around the map and collect resources.
Yep.
And you had to craft using the old crafting system where it actually took time.
Moogle cakes?
Not the Moogle cakes.
Oh, is it a different one?
There was a sword.
Okay.
And I think like it was a sword I used for the longest time. It had like 36 attack, and I thought it was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Because it had like a chance of blinding.
Get that, right? Yeah.
Oh, and if you got the highest end sword, which I wasn't good enough to get, it had like 70 attack.
Like, 70. Yeah. One day.
And now you're getting a standard issue sword that just has 70 flat, and it's also good at killing people. Like, so I mean,
honestly,
it's not bad, but yeah.
Your first few months of playing the game, half a year of playing the game, maybe even the full year, depending on your luck or how frequently you play, this is fantastic.
Yeah, but as soon as you can clear trials and get some of that good gear, this becomes, just like we said last week, any sword that has more than like 100, 110 attack will give you more damage. Yeah.
That's the last time I'm going to mention that it's good for brand new players. I just thought because we were talking about how trash it is.
Yeah.
It just reminded me of back in the
day.
Yeah, back in the day when you first started. You're like, yes, 15 attack, diamond sword.
I actually miss those days because you only get to be new at something once, right?
Yeah.
Because even if I deleted my account and I started FFB again, it wouldn't be that same feeling,
it wouldn't.
Right?
It would not.
So, And then finally, the peace ring is sort of... The only reason I'm mentioning it is because it is the sort of rare... You can only build one.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I'm very underwhelmed by it.
Is it 35 spirit,
it's which like 35 spirit. You resist confusion. It gives you spirit break resistance, which on paper sounds good.
25%.
But when you look at it, 25% is useless. If it was 100%, I would say yes.
Even if it was 75%. Yeah. Because you have unit abilities that give you 100. Even if it was 75, I'm like, okay, you know what? That extra 25% chance to just completely resist it on off turns, not bad.
Yeah.
But this 25% is like whatever. You're gonna get hit with it. Yeah. It's not worth it.
I mean, I'm gonna build one because I'm a collector. Yes. But as far as using it, I'm never gonna use it.
Yeah, exactly.
How it goes.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, one final thing to mention with this event is that if you do the raid summons, you can get trust Moogles for Barrett and Kate Sith.
Right.
So if you listened a few weeks ago or about a month ago, we mentioned that there is going to be a Final Fantasy VII raid coming. This is that raid. Now we are getting the chance to get a ton of Barrett and Kate Sith, which is amazing for trust coins.
Yeah, I think if you're efficient, you should be able to max out at least 3 or 4 of each.
Yeah, depending on your luck.
Typically, that's my luck. I wouldn't keep an exorbitant amount of them. Like, I wouldn't keep 10 Barretts or 10 Kate Sith. That's a bit much. You're not going to get that many.
I have like 5.
Yeah, but if you have 5, just hold on to 5. You never know, right? You could get a ton of their Moogles. I typically get, like I said, 3 to 4. Just it's free trust coins.
The
So
thing
take them.
is, if you are pulling on this banner, just if you're not maxed out on units, just hold on to them till the end.
Yeah.
After the raid, you've done your raid summons, you've maxed out as many as you can, get rid of them. It's
Exactly.
fine, right? The 2 new units we're getting for Final Fantasy VII, some people's absolute favorite unit that wasn't part of the original game, Zack.
Yeah. So Zack, he's coming in. He's bringing the Buster Sword. And not that crappy, 30 attack Buster Sword. When Cloud came in. No, this is the real Buster Sword.
The actual, genuine, authentic, validated by a...
Nintendo certified.
Yeah. It says so right on the side of the sword. If you zoom in on the picture, Nintendo certified. I don't know why it'd be Nintendo certified.
I don't know. You know what? It just reminds me of that had those old school games when we had
the
N64.
little star with
gold
Nintendo.
Thing. It's a Nintendo seal of approval.
Yeah,
or
something like that. That's funny.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore.
No, but it was something.
It is what
they
it
did.
is.
Yeah.
The Buster Sword. It's actually decent. Decent TMR. Great two-handed great sword.
Yeah.
Standard, pretty much, but gives you 10% HP and MP.
Right.
Which is nice.
One, if you don't have Squall, this one you're guaranteed to get it if you pull on the what do you call it? The raid summon.
Yeah.
And it's 5 less attack. I actually personally think this is better than Lionheart because I would rather have 5 less base attack and 10% more HP on my DPS because they just got to survive these days, right?
Yeah.
And sacrificing 5 attack, when you're looking at a true double hand unit, that ends up being something like 20 to
25,
30 attack.
Something like that, yeah.
Whatever
It's
the
not
math
a crazy
comes,
amount.
It's really, you won't even feel it, whereas 10% HP for most units is like 400 to 500 HP.
Yep.
Which is really nice.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
One other thing
worth the trade for sure.
to mention, too, is that this is better, I'd say, than Squalls. I agree with you. But we do have that reward for having 2650, the perimeter mission, which is stronger than both of them, realistically.
Yeah.
And the difference from this to the 160 attack, that's pretty significant.
It's decent,
right?
yeah.
It gets up to 90 extra attack on a true double hand unit. So,
but you can use this to get yourself past that parameter mission.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But his STMR is something that has me flabbergasted. So it's amazing.
I love his STMR because it's called True Hero,
yeah.
Which is like slapping Cloud in the face.
Yeah.
Because it's literally Buster style, plus it gives you 40% attack.
Screw you, Cloud.
Yeah. I'm the real hero.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which, I mean, let's be honest, Zack is the real hero.
Pretty much.
Cloud was the pretender.
Yep. So 40 extra attack onto a Buster style. Amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Let's talk about some of his abilities. I'm not too excited about them, to be honest with you, but maybe you have more to add.
So when I look at Zack, he's got a bit of chaining. The thing is, the chaining families are not that common or that popular anymore. The units that use them are no longer top tier units.
Yeah.
So primarily where I see myself using Zack, if I had him, is as a finisher, which he actually does pretty well.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
He does have dual cast, and then he has a really nice ability that he can activate with his, it's called Lucky Stars, I think. Mm-hmm. It activates this skill called Engraved Hero, which is a 20 times modifier chain finishing move that you can dual cast.
Yep.
So that ends up stacking up to a lot, especially because it crits every time. Yep. And a crit adds 50% to your modifier.
Yep.
Which means every single time you're using it, it's like you have a killer applied no matter what you're fighting.
Yeah.
Which actually significantly increases the damage. So
specifically that he can do, because not every unit can crit, right?
Exactly. So this is really nice because it doesn't really add up to any killer caps or any other caps. It's its own little thing.
Yep.
So it's a nice little boost. Now, that being said, I think Zack is very simple.
Yeah, he is.
He
reminds me of Cloud.
He's kind of he's a better Cloud.
Yep.
And he's a better Squall.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
He unfortunately, when I looked at the numbers, he still loses to Regina in terms as a chain finisher, but he doesn't need as much help as she does.
Fair.
Right? That's
he's
kind of the trade-off.
Easier to use, right?
Yeah.
He's your very bare bones, simple, very, very straightforward finisher.
Yeah.
Like you said, Regina needs a lot of help, maybe a few other additives to her to make her at the at her prime. Along with people like Sid, they require a lot of things to be as good as they are. Zack requires just as much as any other true double hand unit would.
Yeah.
Right? Like nothing extra. There's nothing special that he needs to add to himself.
I mean, it's exactly like you say. And if he has support in terms of imbues or imperils, he'll do better.
Yep.
He doesn't need as much, as much of a mana battery as Regina does. But he still needs people to build chains. He still needs an imbue. He still needs an imperil. So in that regard, he's not that much easier to slot into teams. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, he does have great sword access. So we do have some elemental great swords which could help him out. So, I mean, he's not a bad unit. He's not pushing the meta forward. I think he sits comfortably somewhere in the middle. He's very good. He'll get you through trials, but I just don't think he's not comparing to Regina. He's not comparing to Xeno's damage. So, I mean, he's just a nice middle of the pack chain finisher.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I really don't have much more to say about him. He's a chain finisher. His limit burst is pretty strong with that critical hit, same as that other ability you were mentioning.
I just don't know if you can get all 5 hits.
Yes. I don't know what the frames are.
I don't know what the frames are. If they're close to each other, you can get all 5 hits in a chain.
It's going to be amazing.
It's pretty good. Really good. If they're not, it's why even use it?
Yeah, don't even bother. Use his other ability.
Yeah, his other abilities.
So you get the full damage, right?
I mean, there's not much else to see. He's a very simple unit.
Yeah. If you
unless you're using him to chain.
Yeah.
Which I don't think you should be, but if you have to, then whatever. He might be able to cap his own chains. But otherwise, you're just spamming his engraved hero.
It's not worth it to chain. Nobody worthwhile chains with these families.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So, it is what it is.
Great in Arena, though. Meteor Rain, fantastic.
Yeah. Zack and Cloud together in the arena.
Yeah. Or 2 Clouds.
Force to be reckoned with.
I'm so happy that the dual cast ban is over because I can finally go back to just like
you're telling me, dude,
brainless arena. I hate. You know how many 10-turn fights I had last week against stupid Lilith? Like, it was,
you know what I did last week?
Lilith Aerith teams.
You went really the stupid way, in my opinion. You know what I did last week?
What?
I won 1 fight when I needed to keep, and I did as many as I needed to be under 30,000 so I can get the rewards.
And then you just
quit. I quit every other one.
Smart.
I was like, let me get those trust coins.
Yeah, it's not worth it. Man.
I don't want to sit there for 10 turns, especially because some people's units sit there and attack like 900 times.
Yeah, that was painful.
Yeah. So, you know what's not painful? How great I think that Yuffie is in general. She's not amazing. I do think she's pretty good.
I think she has some unique problems that we haven't seen in a lot of other recent units.
Yeah.
Damage-wise, I think she's in the same
Zack.
field as Zack. I don't think either one. I think Zack, if you're using him to finish chains, will do a bit more damage if he has imbue and imperil support.
I'd agree
if he doesn't, I think Yuffie beats him just because she has her own imbues and perils. But let's start with her TMR.
I like her TMR a lot, and this is why. A lot of these attack-based TMRs require that you equip a specific weapon to get the buff.
Yeah.
I like that it's tied to clothes.
It's nice.
A lot of units do use clothes, especially our samurai friends. Yeah. They like to equip clothes. It's an easy way to get the 50% without being tied to a specific weapon type.
And I want to say 50% 5-star TMR is very run-of-the-mill. It's very standard. Yeah. And it's a very effective use of a materia slot because you're not going to get too many materias that are more than 50.
Yeah.
And if you do, they're either STMRs or they're rewards from trials that are just very, very
good. It's a very rare... I can only think of a handful of TMRs that give you maybe 60.
Yeah.
And that's like under unique conditions. Like it's not like exactly
easy. Katana or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Now her STMR is very interesting. It's unique. And it's also part of its uniqueness it had to be what it is because it's part of what Yuffie suffers from.
Yes.
So she primarily, if she wants to access her some of her passive attack in her kit, she needs a throwing weapon. But the problem is she's a true double hand user. And there are no true double hand, like two-handed throwing weapons except her STMR.
Yep.
So that right there it limits her substantially because her other I think the best weapon for her, aside from her own STMR, is I think they're called the Fatal Gloves. It's Amber's TMR.
Yeah.
The two-handed gloves that have like a 1.5 times variance. So that's part of Yuffie's big problem. Her
But
equipment
she really
selection
wants to use throwing weapons, man.
her equipment selection is very sparse. She doesn't have access to the best two-handed weapons.
Yep.
So she's limited either to using Amber's TMR, in my opinion, or her own STMR if you want any kind of respectable damage out of her.
She kind of suffers in that way because there's not a big weapon pool for her weapon type, and throwing weapons have always been like this. Anyone who uses throwing weapons struggles to find that unless it's their own TMR or STMR. I think of Renoa immediately, for example.
But that being said, I'm glad they stuck to it because her main weapon is a throwing weapon.
Oh, it wouldn't have made sense.
And you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You got to start somewhere to build the
family, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Yeah,
the throwing weapon family.
So I'm glad they stayed true to her character.
Yep.
But right now she does suffer from a lack of equipment selection. And I think that's a big part of what's holding her back because not many players are going to be able to access 4
Or
Yuffies.
You can use her STMR tickets, Moogle tickets.
To help you out.
To help you get this, or potentially get it one day.
Yeah. I haven't seen the results of the first Player's Voice campaign, but if you scrubs voted for anything but those STMR tickets...
Oh, I'm going to be tilted.
Yeah.
You're going to hear about it.
Yeah.
There's going to be 2 crying baby faces.
We're going to be getting some more angry fan mail. Or hate mail, I guess it's called.
Yeah. Angry fan mail. That's a great way to say hate mail.
I like to keep it positive.
Angry fan mail.
Hey, positive vibes only. You know?
Now, one positive thing about Yuffie is her chaining family selection. She has your Stardust Ray, which is a new up-and-coming family. She's got your Bolting Strike, Esther's originating family. Oriole Ray, which a lot of the top-tier damage dealers use.
Yeah.
You can kind of chain off their limit bursts. A lot of great options. Those are great TMRs, great chaining families to use.
And I agree with you. She does have selection in that regard, but it just depends on her role in the team. If you're bringing her for a bit of imperil and some support for your other chainers, for example, she's wonderful with Esther because she has Bolting Strike and she has Oriole Ray, right?
Yep.
So she can chain because Esther wants to be alternating those two.
Yep.
And she's great for that. If you're primarily using Yuffie as a DPS, she's really actually only stuck on Stardust Ray because she has a cooldown ability that will unlock a fantastic Stardust Ray attack ability, right? It's like 16 times the modifier.
It's actually decent.
Along with unlocking a triple cast, which is wonderful. It's a great, it's a significant part of her rotation for her damage. But that being said, that really limits her because her primary chaining partners will either be herself, the new unit that we got recently, Kimono Ayaka or Kayaka, as I like to call her.
Kayaka.
And then Red 13. He's the other sort of premier Stardust Ray chainer. So that's kind of the other part where the other, I guess, limiting factor for Yuffie, where she's kind of relegated either to a supporty chainer, but if she wants to be the primary DPS, her chaining partner pool is limited.
So, like you were mentioning before about her TMR, or sorry, not her TMR, her weapon selection, is the same thing.
Yeah.
So Stardust Ray is a relatively new family. With time, it'll unlock more options.
Yeah, it's got to start somewhere.
Right, it does. And it sucks because Yuffie's early on in it. Usually the early units don't get to reap the benefits later on because they just fall off in terms of the meta. But you have to start somewhere, and Yuffie, I think, is a great starting point for a unit like herself with double two-handed throwing weapons, good chainer overall. I think she can bring some decent support. And with her,
and I mean, it's not all cons, right? She does do great damage if you can get her, even if she's using the Fatal Gloves or whatever. I can't remember. I don't know if they're called that.
I think they're Fatal Gloves, something like that.
Something like that. Amber's TMR. Even if you're using that instead of her STMR, I actually think she does respectable damage. Like I said, it's somewhere around Zack's level. And on top of that, she does bring 3 separate elements with her, which are very nice. So she's not a bad unit, but just like Zack, she doesn't push the meta forward, and she's definitely not the worst. So she sits somewhere nicely in the middle, right?
Yeah, exactly. And this set of Final Fantasy VII units honestly does feel like they do sit somewhere around the middle.
I think they've all kind of felt that way, except Aerith.
Not every unit can push them out of... Well, Aerith came in as like a healer after a huge span of no healers. You know, like there was like 2 or 3 months since Folka came out, I think. So
all of the Final Fantasy VII units, none of them have been sort of... I think Tifa for a while was one of the best...
I was going to say Tifa's up there.
Dual-wield chainers. But
Red 13 was really good when he came out. Just Stardust Ray is tough.
He's really good. It's just the same thing. Chaining families plus Xeno exists and Esther exists.
But if you... fair enough. I feel like they've used Final Fantasy VII. I mentioned that they really love it and we get tons of events, but it feels like the units kind of fill in the gaps, so to speak. You know, like we have this like huge peak and then the Final Fantasy VII units smooth it out. I mean,
if we didn't have Esther and Xeno in global,
they would be amazing. They would be crushing
at the forefront, of damage. But because we have those two units, that's kind of what we have to compare them to, especially
of course,
because of the existence of the unit of choice tickets, right? So most people who have those tickets, who save them, have either Xeno or Esther, right? So that's kind of what we're going to compare her to. Obviously, anyone who's a fan of Final Fantasy VII, or, I know Yuffie probably has a ton of fans. Zack has a ton of fans.
Yep.
So it's like people are going to roll their asses off for this anyway, right? 100%. And I think that probably partially went into why they're not the best of the best. They don't need to be, because people will still roll for them.
Yes.
Because they're popular.
They're so beloved.
Yeah.
Right? Speaking of how beloved they are, it's so funny when I'm scrolling through either Twitter or Instagram. And because I'm liking tons of Final Fantasy Brave Exvius stuff and related game content, as soon as a banner comes out with units, I'm instantly seeing cosplay of that.
Nice.
So like I'm starting to see Yuffie cosplay, for example. When Cloud was released a while ago, I saw some Cloud stuff. Yeah, exactly. Like it just populates. I'm like, that's awesome.
I love Zack because it's like Cloud cosplay, but brunette.
Who are you cosplaying as? I'm Cloud with brown hair.
Yeah. It's like it's just a what do you call it? Chroma of
it's a Cloud chroma.
Or Cloud is a Zack chroma, I guess, if you're going chronologically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But that's it for the Final Fantasy VII units. They fill in some gaps. They're pretty good for their TMRs and STMRs, depending on what you need.
Yeah, especially because they're free.
They're pretty good, yeah.
Right? If you pull one of these units, the TMR is pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah,
if you're doing
from the raid. Exactly.
I mean, yeah. That's all I have to really say on that.
Exactly.
All right.
So that brings us to the end of this episode. Now, if you guys are enjoying what you're seeing, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Be fantastic. Let us know how we're doing. If you want us to cover something a little differently, or if you have some other feedback to give us, feel free to hit us up anywhere. Twitter,
I mean, we're still figuring things out. I mean,
as you can see, we're recording in 3-4 different locations. Right?
Every time. I know last week we had some issues with background noise, so that's why we're here. And I think it'll take time. Thanks for sticking with us. If you do, we're figuring it out, but we'll get there eventually. Hopefully, it's improving,
and we'll work on getting the podcast out faster.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, thanks for listening. Appreciate it. Catch you in the next one.
Peace, guys.
Peace.